Hello and welcome to Stampscapes Live. I had this idea in mind. Let's get right into it. We're going to be using these 2 to 3 I think it's 3 millimeter. They say they're 2 millimeter, but they look like 3 to me. Acrylic paint pens to represent a big spectrum of colors, or a full spectrum of colors. Actually, this one's gold. Running across multiple trees. Okay, so it's going to look something like this. All right. You can see things transitioning through your yellow, gold, orangish tones into red, into the violets. Actually, this would be probably like this right here. Going into the violet tones like this. I don't know, it's more like mauve, but kind of pinkish tones like that. Going into these violet, blue tones right over here, transitioning into the greens. It would be more like this, I guess, right here. And this would be involved. I'm not going to run through like every different color here. I don't know. I guess we'll see how it looks. You know, something like this here, or would it go? Actually, it would go like this right here. I always used to do this as like a little bit of an exercise when doing my color schemes. Actually, I think it'd be like this. So it goes light, darker, lighter, like this. I don't know. It'll all be all mixed up or something like that, though. But something like this, going across this full spectrum right here. We'll use these greens here as the leaves, so it'll really be transitioning through these tones like this. Blossoms in, or I don't know, fall tones in yellows, and then these colors right here probably represent more of like a springtime type of color scheme. But it's not supposed to be like some kind of seasonal thing. It's just more of this graphical type of visual here, you know, really more about color than kind of the nature's true seasons or anything like that. All right, so let's get right into it. I have this elongated piece right here. I think it's I did it at 5.5 by 10 or something like that. 3 trees, winter ash with just a little bit of grass down here, and the sky up here. All right, so just to fill in a very large area in the background, it doesn't have to be too developed or anything like that. I'm going to lay down some blue tones up top here and at the base. At the base, they're going to represent more grass, so it's just going to be a base color for me. Hello, Bonnie. So let's get this going here. This is an Adirondack Lights Aqua, okay? Just any kind of really light blue ink that you might have in re-inker form will make this go really fast. You can use your pads too, but you just have to be dabbing into the pad with your sponge or paper towel in this case, like I'm doing right here. That little bit of re-inker fluid will go a long ways though, so I like using something like that because it makes it very, very quick. Let's see, let's try to keep this in order right here. So let me move these out of the way a little bit. All right, I need more space on my desk. I need a bigger desk, but I would just kind of clutter it up, I think. No matter how much space we have, it seems like it gets just kind of like filled up to the point where you just have room for your you know, projects that you're working on. But okay, so anyways, hello Cynthia. How are you all doing? Hope you had a nice weekend. All right, so going across to my sky like so. Okay, I just want to get a little bit of a backdrop here, okay? And again, this is a really light, pale blue ink. It's barely visible, you know, really. But it'll be perfect for our use. It just gives us a good base coat like that. And I'm transitioning it. I'm going from color to, you know, basically lighter tones and then no color. And down here, this is going to represent the grass. So I just started off with blue as its component of green, right? In this case, I want green grass. If it's summertime, like right now where I am, I'm doing like, you know, brown grass or something like that, dead dead, dried up grass. All right, so let's move into, let's go to a Bahama blue, kind of a medium blue. It's going to look really light though, because I'm going to use this same paper towel here. And as I ink up like that, it's going to be some combination between the two. Hello, Maureen. Thank you so much. Had a nice one. I don't really celebrate my birthday too much, but, the wife and kid, want to. So, we went out to eat and whatnot yesterday. My son goes to open gym, so we didn't do anything yesterday, but they hit me up over the weekend. I don't even remember how old I am these days. I have to kind of do the math. Like, literally. I know what general kind of age I am. But sometimes it's like, wait a minute, am I? Do the math, and I can't, It's like I have to actually, do the math sometimes. Like when we're younger or something like that, people ask our age, what grade you're in and stuff like that. But, after a while, it's like to me, it becomes like all the same. That if you're not asked that, I don't know. All right. So I think that's about it right here. I'm not going to be able to fit too much of grass or sky on here because I'm going to use large winter ash. Let's see. I think that is about right. You looked up your age on Google. Someone said, okay, so like in a video, like, I don't know, several weeks ago, someone said, okay, now we know your age, because I don't know, I mentioned the year I was born or something like that. I said, well, I don't know, pretty much an open book. You could have asked me before if you're anyone who's curious. So, let me see. So I was born in 67, so 2023, let me see, I already forgot again, minus 1967, what is, that's, I carry the 2, that's like 44, right? I'm joking, folks. It's a little bit more than that. All right, so a little bit streaky. We want a little bit of streakiness in the sky, okay? To represent sky, and it really goes on really smoothly. But when you do those kind of base coats like that with a big slathering of ink, not on matte paper, but this is a semi-gloss or a glossy for sure. But if you go like that, that's not a really great technique. It'll just kind of blend out because you've super saturated your surface right here, as well as filling up some of the pulp of the paper, at least a little bit, with some moisture, okay? So again, it really makes this easy to just glide on really smoothly. It's not really kind of grabbing onto the paper because, like I said, it's like you've kind of super saturated your paper a little bit. It's not super saturated, but it's a little bit saturated, at least on the surface right here. So you can almost, like when I'm putting my finger there, I don't know if you can see, but it kind of removes the ink because the ink's kind of floating on the surface right there, and that's what makes blending my colors, at least in the process that I use a lot of times when it comes to dye-based inks on coated papers, so easy to do. And it's because of those, it's not because of this color's easy to blend in. Well, it is, but it's the thing that makes it easier to blend in is the use of those base coat colors. So a lot of times when people, they just color it, and then when it's completely colored like that, they move on to the next color. And I understand that because that's the way we do a lot of different types of coloring out there. But this one's a little bit different. This one's where you're kind of glazing tones on top of one another and creating these transitions, okay? And that's where, just kind of laying down a good slathering with your first colors makes it so much easier to do. And, so you don't want to just color, but you want to saturate a little bit, okay? I mean, you can get, good blends in without doing that, but it takes a little bit more touch, to do it that way. And I just find it so much easier and practically foolproof if you just kind of, really kind of dampen the surface like that. And this one, like here, like I said, it's not super sealed. It's it's a semi-gloss, and it's much closer to matte than glossy. So it is absorbent, but just, I don't know, just saturate the paper, and you don't have to really worry about anything, unless you're in I don't know, whatever, like super arid place. But then just if it starts drying out on you, just lay it down again, and you're ready to go. So, right, Annie, the benefits of base coats. Hello, Annie. Good to see you. All right, so let's see. Let's move. I think that's about as dark as I want it to go. Actually, I'm removing a lot of color up there by touching it up there. I guess I really saturated it. I haven't used my Adirondacks light in a while, but these shadow stamping inks from Ranger were really my go-to base coats for a really long time. And then they got discontinued. Like, like a lot of different media out there these days. Media and brands and all that. So sometimes some of the things out there that we're using, some of the best of certain types of things are gone. But I'm going to be using these pens on here, and those pens weren't available, I don't know, at least a few years ago. So, there's a lot of good things out there that are happening in terms of media, but we have lost some other kind of, beneficial, should we say, things. I'm using a paper towel right now, and I find it works just fine, but the better things used to be the color box stylus tools, which I just sold on eBay. A couple of kind of stragglers that came up from a customer that had some, that didn't use them. She liked using the brushes better than the color box stylus tools, so she had them sitting around with nothing to do. So I traded her. She was going to give them to me. I said, I don't want to just take them. So I said, hey, do you want, I'll trade you for some stamps. So she said, yeah. Send me set number whatever. All right. So sky and ground, real simple, right? And let's add a little bit of texturing down here. Although that would be kind of interesting just to plant those trees right into that little transition like that. But let's give him a little bit more of a kind of a platform. Then I can add some shadows down there or something like that. Let's do this not in black. Although maybe I should do it in black. Okay, I'm going to do it in black. I was thinking about not doing it in black just to create a color down here for this grass, but I think it's going to need, if I do the trees in black, I'm going to need something heavier down below in terms of a foundation for them. So I think it'll be better to do it in black. Okay, so if you're doing things in black up here, in a surface down here, you do that surface in black as well. Now we have the colors as well, but also use something at least as dark or darker than the objects that you're stamping within it, okay? That's the general rule, otherwise it looks kind of like things are kind of floating in there. Hello, Jeannie, thanks so much. Do you still have your sea legs, Jeannie? Are you missing your cruise? Those were some nice photos. Jeannie posted some photos of her Alaskan cruise that looked very amazing out there with the scenery. So we expect to see some scenes stamped a la Alaska and glacial. Except that's a summertime out in Alaska that you just saw. With your techniques and things like that, I wouldn't be surprised to see more of like a winter in Alaska with wisps of wind and you know, kind of extreme weather or something like that for more of an expressionist, you know, take on the terrain. Okay, winter brush, large. Maybe I should do the smaller ones, but you know, I could fit more of them across here. I was telling someone that I should do like 5 of them across here so that I can keep these colors a little bit different, but let's just see how it goes. So if you just joined in, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create these different color schemes in the same tree as a foundation here. But it's just going to be like more of this, I don't know, kind of a playful, kind of a graphical type of thing where you see this rainbow color spectrum. Like this tree over here will be these colors, this one will be that color. I don't know, maybe I should have the dominant one. I think these are the dominant colors here. Yeah, maybe, okay, maybe I'll switch this around a little bit. And put the red in the center. Because I think the viewer's attention will be pulled to the color of a tree that's a little bit more dominant. And I think that any reddish tinges would be a little bit hotter. I think the red has the shortest wavelength or something like that. So that's why like stop signs and, you know, things like that are done in red. As far as attention getting, I think. But that red, the attention getting plus contrast is yellow and black, which is why like construction signs are all done in that kind of theme, you know. All right there, and that already looks kind of cool. And we haven't even developed anything down here, but kind of that stark look like that, I don't know. I hope I don't ruin it with my additional things that I do to this. You can always come back and do this same composition, though. Okay, each impression got a little bit darker right here. I had like all white ink on this before I started this video that I didn't clean off, so it might have been acting as a little bit of a resist. Okay, so I think that's going to go in there like that, and then I'm going to have this little elk like right in here afterwards, but let's do all the coloring in here first. No, what day is today? August 1st. My birthday was yesterday. So hit the like button 31 times. Actually, that would be, let me see, every time you click it, that would be like a negative like then. It would unclick it. Has anyone met other people just that you've come across that have your same birthday before? I think I met 2 or 3 people just by chance. I don't know why birthdays came up, but that had shared my same day, July 31st. It was kind of interesting because I always thought, do I seem to have like anything in common with them? It wasn't always the same year though. Okay, so I'm going to move this around a little bit. This is going to be more like this. I'm going to switch this over here like this. So in theory, this color scheme would go like this. So see, that's how you know, like if this was a color wheel, it'd be like this. So see, I just moved this over here, so this is transitioning into the blues, and then this blue right here would really transition. If this was like wrapped around, it would move into the violets like that, okay? So, okay, so here's my idea right here. This tree right here, the blossoms, or I guess it would look more like fall. That one's going to be that color scheme. This tree over here, it's going to transition into these tones over here, which are going to be purple. I'm not going to transition this one into just greens because I want some blues in this one. So the blue, it's going to be like a bluish blossom, you know, in here, more like springtime type of thing. And then see, all of them are going to share some of these green leaves in the background. So that's not going to be like a green themed, you know, tree over here. Because again, I want like a full spectrum in here. So this is going to be in all three of them. So that's how it is in theory here. If anyone hasn't watched these videos before, I'm just kind of experimenting with here, you know, with, I don't know, practically all the videos, but I haven't done this before, so it's not like a, this is how to do this and this is going to look great. You know, it might not work. We'll try to make them always make them work, you know, to some extent, you know, but hey, you know, I don't know. It's, you know, we're just kind of experimenting around with a lot of these things. Okay, so before I use the paint in here, I really want to make sure that that area up there is kind of taken care of as much, because I'm not going to want to go over the background anymore. You know what I mean? After I add in paint pens, you don't want to go over the paint pens and add in more color into the background. So maybe I will go in a little bit darker with a little bit more blue here, just on the edges like this. Let's see. Let's go back to that Bahama blue. Okay, like this. And let's just do a little bit of tone. I'm smearing this tree right here because I just stamped it, but I'm going to have the paint pen over that area anyway, so I'm not worried about that. If you're worried about that, then heat set before going over that again. Okay, so just a little bit darker on the edges like this, okay? And that doesn't look too good. This is like really dry on here. Here, let me just moisten that a little bit more. See, again, the benefits of re-inkers, you know. Let's just moisten that up just to get a smoother swatch down here. At this point in time, the background has dried pretty much, not completely, but yeah, see this right here? See how smooth that goes on there? Just if you have kind of a wetter applicator, right? Makes sense? Okay, so that is that. Ooh, that made that look quite a bit darker down there, huh? Like that. So this is the blue right here, but blue over green. It just looks like a darker green. Like that. All right, so see that right there? That base, that little transitioning area down there. It looks darker down here and lighter on the top a little bit more. Okay. And we'll add more tone to it coming up here. Let's do that afterwards. Yeah, I'll do that with alcohol inks maybe. Okay, so let's see. Let's start off with our foundation colors. All right, and those will be some like green leaves throughout these. I'm not really quite sure how much to add in there because I want it to be more, you know, the colors in these trees to be more of the, you know, the spectrum that that transitioning spectrum across here. So I don't know. Let's just start off. So I'm going to start off with the lighter tones and then work in the darker tones and then work in the lighter with the greens here. And I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't use as much of maybe the light greens because I'm just thinking out loud here because I'm going to be hitting the light greens in the spectrum. I don't know. We'll just figure it out. if I kind of overdo something, then we'll know for, you know, the next time, you know, if I ever do something like that again. Uh-oh, hubby has bad cold and cranky. Oh, did he catch it on the cruise? Okay, so just adding these little dots around. Cluster them up a little bit too sometimes, you know, just so it's not like everything's like completely evenly spaced, you know, and in tree and foliage, stuff like that. Um, you know, you can give it a little bit of a coverage like that, like an overall, but then cluster around a little bit, okay? Because we have a tendency of kind of adding, you know, very equal spacing like that, okay? But it's just, you know, so if you do that, just kind of go back in and vary it a little bit more like that, okay? You kind of have to force yourself to do it, you know, I do. But that's just, I don't know, it's the pattern with us all. We tend to, I don't know, do patterns a lot of times, especially with this type of textural application. I noticed it going way back, and especially with like a white paint pen, and, you know, to represent stars or something like that. So I have to kind of break out of that mode myself, like all the time, especially if I don't do it for a while. On here, it's not quite as apparent, you know, if you do everything like completely spaced, you know, evenly, because we have all this texture in here, and there's not that huge amount of contrast between this green and this black impression in the background. But when you start moving into like bigger contrast, like, you know, white stars against a dark sky, then it is really apparent. That's why sometimes I do splatter painting too, because it comes out a lot more kind of varied and, you know, somewhat random with that spatter, you know, patterning. I usually do a little bit of both. I'll do splatter painting, stars, and then I'll go in and I'll hand do a few in there, you know, just to create a little bit of a size difference. Larger dots, larger stars, like that. Okay, but anyways, this is an acrylic paint pen. You can use an oil-based pen if you want to. This one's the larger one. You could use the 0.7 millimeter extra fine pens, but I think something like that would really take a long time. Hello, Linda. I had to do that thing. I don't know if you got my response on that YouTube, but this is the scene that I really wanted to do. Okay, so 5 trees didn't fit. I told Linda in a response I'm going to do 5 trees, but only 3 of them were fitting here. So we're going to have to fit the spectrum across the 3 trees instead. I was telling Linda I should do this in a reflection card down here, but I don't know. If this comes out, maybe I'll do that again and do it again in a reflection card. But I've been liking how some of my pieces look like framed. It's like you get done with like a larger piece and you like put it in a frame. It looks like, I don't know, it looks like twice as, you know, as good than the unframed version. I think it's because there's a nice border around it, and I don't know, it's, yeah, the composition is closed off more, and then you have that glass in front of it or something like that. I hadn't seen that before. I hadn't framed any of my pieces, you know, in like, I don't know, since I started stamping like 91, you know. I don't know, some people told me they, you know, when I sent out originals, they said they got them framed, but I never saw it. Until like, you know, whatever it was, like a month ago when I, you know, first framed up that, you know, one of those 8.5 by 11s or something like that. Oh, Annie, happy birthday. Maybe you told me, but that sounds like really familiar in one of our live streams. Happy birthday to Annie. Everyone, let's sing happy birthday to her. We could if it was a, no, and I was going to say we could if it was a Zoom meeting, but we can't, huh? Let's see here. I still look 20 years old. If I saw a 20-year-old version of me, a photo, I probably wouldn't, you know? Let's see. Did I say hi to Kay and, hey, Froggy Fresh. Hello, anyone else that's on? A friend of mine, classmate in school, his birthday was today. There were 3 of us in my 6th grade class. And I don't know, we were just mentioning birthdays. And his birthday was August 1st. And another one of our friends in class was August 2nd. So my friend, that was the August 1st, and I sometimes was just kind of joke around and till the August 2nd birthday, guy, when we wanted to do something or something like that, he'd say, no, like, you're too young, You can't do it, you're too young. And he'd say, I'm only like a day younger, All right, so I'm adding in some extra foliage, so we're layering those greens from dark to light, okay? And you do that, usually if I'm working with transparent media, I've mentioned this before, I'm usually going from light to dark, like with these base layer colors down here. It was like a really light blue, then I went into the greens here, and the darker green. Light blues up top, and then not super dark blue, but darker blue than that first color, okay? But with more of your opaque media, at least as far as what I'm trying to do here, I usually work from dark to light, so I have those lighter tones on the top that are a little bit more glistening. I mean, you can go back and add darker ones over the top of lighter ones, if you really want to layer it. For me, that's a little bit overkill, and after I've kind of worked from dark to light with, adding these types of dots down, I don't necessarily feel like going back and going dark again over the top of it. I think the benefit is really adding light on top of dark, with these types of pens. So that's what I do. All right, so it's like, I don't know, springtime here. Clustering a little bit more. Where I got a little smudgy, I'm kind of spending a little bit more time in there. Candy's anniversary is this week. Happy anniversary there. Candy's referring to her Stampscapes anniversary of when she first came across a Stampscape stamp, right, Candy? Yeah, but happy anniversary there. That's awesome. But yeah, Annie here on her birthday. I'm doing this first birthday. I'm doing this live stream in celebration of Annie's birthday, right? Annie's favorite tree is the winter ash, you know, or is an ash tree. That's her birth. You know, what is that? That your astrological plant is the ash tree. I'm joking though. I guess if it was Annie's tree, it would be mine too then. What is that? Our let me see. I know our gem. I don't know. But I think our gem Annie is the ruby, right? I don't know what the plant is though, or the flower. All right, so there's the green. Green's starting to stand out pretty good. These trees are, you know, actually these trees aren't looking too bad just as green. But we're gonna make it look a little bit crazier in here. Happy everything to all. Happy August. We had like a little, I don't know, whatever, like a monsoonal shower last night, and I went outside and got soaked. I was hoping it would rain a little bit longer, so I put out these buckets to catch the rainwater, you know, but I don't know. It stopped, you know, like soon after that. But I think we're getting some rain up in the mountains because there's like these big, huge, like thunderhead cumulus clouds hovering over the mountains in the distance, you know, driving around here that I can see. I always love that type of like summertime, you know, like showers in some areas. It happens in the upper deserts, like in Death Valley, sometime, and I don't know about in Joshua Tree. I don't think I've ever been out there during the summertime when it's rained, but definitely up in the mountains though. I need some music with like a beat to it. Like something fast, maybe. All right. Paradise. I thought Ruby was ours. Or is that the month? Or is that the or maybe I thought Ruby was it. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe I think it was something else. Unless it's the astrological, you know, one. Okay, let's see here. This color is a little bit, okay, here's a yellow green. That looks pretty good. Let's use, okay, so let's start to focus the center one right here with a little bit of the yellows and oranges and reds, okay? So I'll start to add this down here like this. Actually, this is light, right? I said I usually work from dark to light. Let's see, let's maybe move into the red then in here. This one's really going to stand out, but I'm going to be putting in the lighter colors over the top of it, remember, so yeah. I haven't even used this red yet. Look at this. Unused here. Let's get it flowing here. July through August for holly tree. It is considered the ruler tree. Annie, our tree rules them all. But, and it was like it's Leo the lion too, right? Isn't that supposed to be like a ruler? Okay, so here comes the red. That looks pretty cool, I think. I don't want it to look like apples or something like that, but, you know, I don't think it will once I add in, like, the oranges into it and yellows. Okay, you know what I'm going to have to do? I'm going to have to lay down some of these colors into these trees. I'll show you how I cluster this, too, here. You can really see, I think you can really make it. It was hard to see with the green, but with this red, it really shows up here. But so you just kind of add it, like, a little bit all over, okay? Like this. And then you go back in and just add in those kind of tighter clusters and make it look a little bit more varied. I think varied is the better word than random. You know, because I don't want like a gigantic cluster of, you know, red up here, you know, that just like overpowers the thing or something like that. But let's go like that in here. So this will be the darkest color on that tree, okay? Now that I'm thinking about this, I wonder if more of like a sunset color scheme in the background would have worked better. Maybe for the warm tones, but maybe not for the cool tones. I guess these ones out here are going to be more cool tones, so I don't know. Okay, let's go with the purple on this one. This one's going to be like a purples, pinks in this one right here. And then this one will be the blue tones, okay, over here. All right, so I'm going to go into the darker blue. Here's another blue right here that I can add into the mix. Give me a chance to use some of these colors that I don't normally use, too. I don't think I've used some of these colors that I'm going to be using in here. Stevie Ray Vaughan. Awesome. Stevie Ray Vaughan while quilting. Scuttlebutton. I just watched a video of a couple people doing, I think, Scuttlebutton covers. But I think I have, yeah, Stevie Ray Vaughan, I probably have, as far as CDs go, you know, from certain artists, I probably have about, I don't know, 4 or 5 of his CDs. He's one of those artists that if you like him, you know, you pretty much are gonna like all the CDs or albums, you know, or whatever people got, you know, back when. I'm glad I had a chance. I saw him perform at this one blues festival right before his, I don't know, a few months before his passing. All right, look at that purple in that. That purple looks pretty good. Just, you know, if I was just doing purple or something like that, that looks pretty cool. Wait, so Linda, you added purple to your monochromatic Fallen Leaves piece. I just did this Fallen Leaves monochromatic, and Linda was mentioning that she tried it in the monochromatic as well, but she added a tinge. I thought you said a violet, right? That looked pretty cool. So that's really cool. You can tint your you know, your monochromatic scenes if you just do it grayscale, and then you add a little bit of color somewhere, you know, with whatever color scheme you really want. And you know, you can give a tinge of some kind of color, your favorite color, or whatever color that might be appropriate for the scene. That way, if you do it in warm tones, they tend to look a little bit more like antiqued and aged. That's usually what I went for. But you can do any color scheme you want. Okay, I haven't used. Let me get these two going at the same time here. A holly tree stamp, huh? What do holly trees look like? As far as the foliage, boy, these got going fast here. All right. hummingbird stamp. I was just watching um, I'm reading some of these things up here. Jeannie's too tired to stamp. Hubby coughing. Go get some Red Bull, Jeannie. Or do a scene when you're really tired, and then do another scene. Do the same scene, but when you have a lot of energy. This blue looks pretty cool in here too. And then you'll post both of them, and we'll try to figure out which one was the one that you did when you were like super tired, and which one was the one at, you know, whatever, fully rested, as a kind of a visual kind of exercise. I think that'd be pretty cool to see. This blue here looks pretty good in this tree too. I'm guessing, I don't know. I need to kind of branch out more with these color schemes in trees, I think. No, I mean this is just one base color too in all these ones right here. But I think it looks pretty cool, huh? So far. Okay, so let's see if that red is dried yet. The red's dry, so we can go back to that and let's start building that one up a little bit more. Okay. So if you just joined in, what I'm doing is this is going to be like this spectrum of colors going across here, from the blues to the orangish, reddish tones in here, and then it's going to transition into the pinks and purples over here. You know what I mean? It's just kind of an exercise in kind of this, I don't know, whatever, like different spectrum of colors going in here. It's not like it's supposed to be like some realistic grove or something like that, you know, that we're going to see. Okay. A hummingbird stamp, yeah. There's probably been a ton of hummingbird stamps out there. I've seen some. I've seen a really good one, but maybe too big though, for like scene stamping, because it's like really big. It's like for, you know, to fill up like an entire card or something like that. 8 cups of food a day. They go through a ton, huh? Even if you have like just 2 or 3 around. And boy, they get territorial too. But 8 cups, boy, that's a lot. I was just watching these videos on I don't know, someone found like a hummingbird, you know, that was like totally dehydrated in their garage, and I don't know, they had to like feed it through like a syringe. Like hummingbird saving videos. Sometimes I get suspicious about these like you know, rescued animals or something like that, because if they're getting like millions of views, that's like thousands of dollars in revenue, you know what I mean? It makes me a little bit suspicious if, you know, there's like multiple videos on the same channel where someone's just coming across and saving like these animals. But they are kind of mesmerizing to watch. Everyone likes to see like a transformational video. Or, you know, we saved this dog, you know, that fell through the ice, you know. It is like you know, 12 million views or something like that, you know. If there's like another one on there, on that same channel, I'm thinking they threw that dog out there on the ice to go save it, you know. So that's what I think about when I see it, like, you know, we need a hummingbird stamp. All right, so there's a little bit of that orangish reddish tinge in there. Okay, so getting a little bit more three-dimensional looking, you know. I don't try to add this directly over the top of all that red, you know, where I did it before, so it's a little bit offset. Some of it's overlapping it, some of it isn't. And, you know, I'm not going to go through like all of these colors in this tree, I don't think. But, you know, we'll just see when it gets to that kind of that, I don't know, whatever, that resolution that looks, you know, kind of finished or something like that, or, you know, fully put together. Sometimes I go a little bit too far where I have to go back over it with the darker ones, though. The darker colors, because I've eradicated too much of that darker tone by these lighter tones over the top of it. So, okay, let's see here. I must not have used this one lately. It's a little bit dry here. Here we go. I got to get that dryness out of it. All right. Yeah, not too much lighter, I would say. This one's not as big of a jump as that red, or that orange was on top of that red. This one's like a, I don't know, 7% jump in value from dark, you know, to lighter. Okay, I don't need to do too much with that color right there. Let's just leave it at that. And let's go back to blue here. Oh, thank you, Patty. And Annie, my birthday was yesterday, so that's like old history, but Annie's birthday is today. If she's still on. I need a white pen that makes tiny dots and won't clog. Mine is starting to get a little bit cloggy, but I've been using it for a long time, so I need to get another pack of the white pen. Do you go over the white pen? You don't go over the... Do you use your white pen with, what size? Well, you said tiny dots, so that would be the 0.7 millimeter. I like that Meowsen? Or whatever brand, but I think they're all the same. I'm about to order another. I'm going to order an 8-pack of the 0.7 millimeter pen, Genie. I would guess most of them are pretty good. I don't know if this brand makes it. S5 or whatever. But I like the opacity of this brand of pens. This has been one of the more opaque paint pens. Now, I don't know about longevity. Maybe the more dense the paint, like right here, I had to get that, you know, that violet one kind of scribbling out again. But the more watery ones, never, I don't have to do that with the more watery ones. But the more watery ones are more watery, you know what I mean? So like in building up these colors over the top of one another, it's like a pure version of orange on top of red, where the more watery ones, the red shows through more, which, I don't know, it could be good and bad, you know? Sometimes you want a little bit more, kind of a merging of the media that you apply, you know, so that it kind of blends in a little bit easier. But sometimes I just want like a nice crisp dot on top of something where I don't have to keep working it, you know, layering it and layering it and layering it for it to, you know, for light colors to be nice and visible against the darker ones. Okay, this one is... Yeah, okay, I thought this one was merging a little bit more, but I think this one looks okay. Oh, I needed to shake it up more. It was watery. I thought, okay, this one doesn't look so opaque. But yeah, you just need to shake it up more. Okay, but as far as like paint pens, this one's the brand, it seems, that is giving me a little bit more opacity. But I found most of these paint pens to be pretty good. There was one brand that I've tried before. that the smaller versions of the pens, it had a really great opacity, but the the build quality wasn't good. I mean, I was like just taking my cap off and the tip fell, like came off. So I don't use those pens. I just did like an unboxing of that one. I don't use it in the videos, but the ink quality was really good. So I thought, okay. Maybe that's the trade. I wouldn't think, opening the cap shouldn't, and it happened on a couple of them, so it wasn't just like one time thing. But, yeah, kind of like taking the cap off shouldn't be the thing that, where the tip goes flying out of there. But they did have like extra tips though, where most of these other brands don't. But if you don't need the extra tips, then, no big deal. But maybe with the other one, I don't know, maybe they figured you would, because it would, it would fall out. Which is not very good. Okay, so going on with this plum, it's kind of a plum-ish tone in here. I won't do too much. Oh. I need to finish up more of this grassy area down here, because I was going to put some of these, like, oops. I was going to put some of this down into this area. Not like that, though. All right, so we're moving into some of our lighter tones now. In terms of certain colors, this one doesn't look too light here, but we'll hit, Gina was talking about white. I'm going to hit these all with white coming across in here, too. Yeah, okay, this blue right here isn't very light either. Well, I don't know, when I cluster it, though. This one's kind of interesting. When I first start laying down some of these colors, I can hear it, like when I did that yellow over here. It looked like it was a little bit darker, but got lighter. It's usually the opposite with these pens. I lay it down, and while it's wet, it looks lighter, and then it dries and it looks darker. I don't know if it's the opposite with this one. Okay. So I think that's our blues right there. I think that looks okay. This one right in here, let's see what it looks like with the pure, like, yellow here, but just that basic red on there looked really good, though, too. So, I don't know, some of these with just, like, one color, I think look really good. Maybe if you're doing something really graphical, you know what I mean? Where you just want to stamp a tree and put some color on it, and put, like a word stamp or something like that, I think that would look really good. On these ones, I'm really kind of rendering these trees, making them look, more like they have more volumes in them. But I think it looked really good just with the base colors there. Maybe I need to do that where it's just like 5 tones across there, and there's not so much of a transitioning thing. So 5 of the smaller ones in here, like a real slimline type of thing, and just one color in each of these, like blue, green, yellow, I don't know, orange, red, I don't know. I don't know how many colors would we need for that full spectrum. All right, so here's the yellow though, and let's go to pink here. So hopefully this is a nice light pink. Jeannie, I'd be sleeping in the spare room. Stevie Ray Vaughan, Buddy Guy, Corey Stevenson concert. Let me see. It wasn't Buddy Guy. It was, when I saw him, it was Stevie Ray Vaughan, B.B. King, Joe Cocker. I don't know, there was like 10 other bands too, I think, that day. But I was getting a little bit sleepy with the like standard, like blues going on. because it was like, you know, real traditional blues, slow and stuff. And then when Stevie Ray Vaughan came on, played Scuttlebutt, and it's like woke me up. You know, I was like, oh, thank heavens, you know. All right, here comes the pink here. This is adding in quite a bit of contrast in here. The pink looks really good on here. I don't know if you can see it here. Let me try to zoom in a little bit. All right. So we have 3 different trees. The blue needs some white though, doesn't it? It needs some contrast. It didn't have like a really light blue. Although I do in this other, let me see. This one's not quite as opaque. But did you see that pink right there? I had to get it scribbling out like that. Okay. Is because it dried on the tip. I'm never running into it with the Emoki pens. But again, these ones are waterier. Okay. So I guess that's the trade-off right there. Okay, so if you ever get this SFAIH brand, just know that, you know, you might pull it out. And when you start scribbling around with it, it's like dry on the tip. So a lot more opaque for less kind of additions. And this one right here, excellent brand. Been using them now for like a couple years now. But waterier, you know what I mean? So like I haven't used this in a little bit of time. It, you know, it's flowing fine. But a little more, or quite a bit less opaque though. So I might add this on here. The problem with this is I might add this on here, and it looks like there's a decent amount of contrast between, in this case, the dot and that background. But when it dries, it just kind of blends in with that background where it's, you know, you can kind of see where you added it. But if you really want to get it built up and lighter, then you really have to add in, you know, a couple more layers of it to get more of that pigment, you know, in that area right there. So that's in the buildup. But if you just did it like, you know, that like the dark color, you know, against that black tree trunk right there, you know, you wouldn't have any problem with, you know, because it doesn't matter if it's see-through because you don't have the darker colors in the background. You're just putting it down there, you know, if you just left it at that. So where this really comes in handy is with the white though, you know, because the white would be, you know, potentially the most see-through of all the different, you know, pen colors out there. So I really appreciate when I get to this color right here as the lightest tone on there. So, and I'm just going to use just a little bit of a tip of this. I'm not touching it down, you know, quite as for a big dot. I'll just, you can get like a 1 millimeter dot just by, you know, touching it smaller than doing like a full, you know, impression right there. So I just want these to kind of shimmer a little bit more, and I'm clustering. See if there's a little bit of a cluster of, you know, colored dots. I put the white one kind of across the top of it. Not everywhere, but just in general, if there's like a clustering, and not everywhere on there isn't. So I might just kind of, you know, just to put a few at random or something like that. But again, that clustering of it kind of creates a little bit more of this sense of, you know, these branches and things like that being like a you know, volumes. Not that we have to do it that way either. You can do things for the, you know, the point of, you know, pattern too, if you want to make it look more patterned like. All right, so there's the white in there. Let's do the white over here too. Okay. All right, like that. It's kind of unifying them a little bit too. I guess you're kind of going with the full spectrum in here too. It's like we stamp out the trees in black, and then it's like we're kind of finishing up with like white here. All right. Kind of glistens a little bit more. That white looks pretty good over there. Let's add a little bit more to this one. After you get one, you have to kind of look back and take a look at over it all. If you need to adjust. Okay. All right, I was adding that little one. I'm adding much larger dots now because I like the look of it. I was going to be, I thought it'd be a little bit better, a little bit more delicate, but I think it looks good, kind of bolder in there. Go sleep in the guest room, Jeannie, so that you can stamp. Buddy Guy, Kenny Wayne Shepherd, and are touring together this year. That's cool. Let's see, I quite like the tinge of violet. I felt like cheating by cutting out my lady. We got to cut out those ladies, Linda. It's like so much easier that way. And plus, we need to go, like I said, we need to go like more three-dimensional, like we've been talking, chatting about. So Linda cut out, her lady and laid her down there. She felt like cheating. But like I said, I think three-dimensional, three dimension is a really good way to go with scenic stamping, and taking advantage of, I don't know, kind of the format, things are in, dimensions out in nature, so why not? Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of a highlight on some of these branches in here. I'm doing it with my larger pen like this because sometimes when I'm going through this type of area with my 0.7 millimeter, it's like picking up some of the paint that's on there, and it has such a small kind of opening, it kind of clogs it up. Okay, so I'm not trying to stay on any branch. I'm kind of making some up as I go along here too. All right, so I don't know if you can see those in there a little bit. It gave a little bit more structure to, some of the branches. Sometimes it's good to go over the top of it with color again. Like if you have these, these kind of streaks everywhere, so you kind of break up that streak again with a little bit more color or foliage in there. Office Mate paint marker. Good to know, Patty. All right. What? I've never heard of Office Mate. It sounds like like an office supply paint marker. Okay, let's add in, now see how all these trees are kind of floating in there? We need to anchor them down with like shadow and something like that. So let's see. I'm wondering if I should do it with just, let's do it with a couple things here. Let's do it with some colored pencil, but then I think I've been using a lot of the alcohol markers lately too, but let's go and add down a little bit of a warmer tinge using some colored pencils. Colored pencils can be really fast as well. See that right there? Just that little bit of a, yellow-green. Okay, I think a good shadow kind of theme could be, okay, let's set this, let's choose a vanishing point right. I'll choose a vanishing point. I'm just choosing somewhere in the center here just so we can recognize this branch right here. That will be my vanishing point as far as my lighting scheme. So see this right here? Just in general, what I'll do is I'll create a little bit of a shadow coming out from here. And that'll be the shadow direction here, okay? And then over here, it'll be like that right there. So you can create your shadows kind of going this way, like that. We'll add more in here with pens too, but let's just get this grass looking nice and rich down here, okay? But you can see that, this is a light yellow here, but I've kind of just by adding this down here, it looks a little bit darker, okay? Just because there's another color down here, it's not a dark color, which we'll get to. But you can see you've almost created this. You can see the lighting coming through here now, like that, okay? Just with like one color. So I mean, you can really adjust lighting, really easy, okay? All right, let me see here. Okay, so there's that branch right there, and, I'm just doing, I wouldn't normally hold this piece of paper. I don't do it like this. I'm just doing it so you can see. Okay, so you just kind of go to the base of the trunk like that, and you can add it like that. See that? A little bit of a shadow coming out. It's not like in dark, because this is, I'm not doing it in like a dark color yet. But here's this right here. You come this way, like this, all right? And you know how shadows kind of open up like that, from the source right here, and they get a little bit wider, it's darker right here, and it gets lighter as it moves away. Now, we don't have a big area here to transition, values, so it's largely going to be the same color from right here to right here. But this one right here is going this way, okay? Now, you don't want anything too straight, so you have to kind of blend it out a little bit like that. And remember, there's areas on the grass that are a little bit textured too, so you want to go in and, add those, those shade transitions in the grass as well. And you can see it. I'm just darkening in these areas on the sedge filler, right here that I can see down here. So I'm just going in there and just adding a little bit more green to them like that. All right, that one color, that was olive green there. I thought I already used this one here, but maybe I didn't. Wait. Oh, that is the olive green. I thought I had a darker green here. The colored pencils are doing a good job here, I think. All right, this one's, I can't read it. Grass green. Now see, that would be normally what someone grabs. If they're doing grass, they're grabbing grass green and not going through all those other colors. But these are the colors that are going to really give it, these base layer colors are going to be the thing that makes it kind of glow more, okay? All right, I'm getting a little bit super saturated. This semi-gloss cardstock, it is already fairly smooth, so you can't build up colored pencils too much on them, because you get that wax buildup on there, and it just, you can't add anymore. Okay, but see this right here, adding it into that shadow right there. And so you blend it out like that. Again, it's, these trees aren't on like concrete, so it's not going to be a harsh line. you know, or too harsh of a line, like that. So, and then you just kind of, you add that line in there like that, and then you just kind of blend it out a little bit more like that, okay? But, you know, keep that line a little bit more prominent like that. And see that, you see that perspective like that you get? If you just kind of pick a vanishing point, or it's, the vanishing point obviously represents the source of light. So you're saying, okay, so my source of light is coming from here. It could, I mean, it could have been anywhere. It could have been right here, you know, and then the lines, you know, would be much more, you know, angled like that, you know. But in this one we did this, okay, like up here. And remember, this is kind of a slope too, or I'm defining it as a slope. So instead of just going like straight out like that as a shadow from the tree like this, I just kind of, from the trees like this, so I kind of just slope the shadow down like that. And that represents the, you know, the shape a little bit of that grassy, in this case, slope right here. Let me do it a little bit more distinct like that. But see this one right here, it's going down a little bit like this. I mean, it has a little bit of an arc to it. You know, I'm only working with like a, you know, 1 inch, you know, area of space there, so you can't do too much. But anyways, you see that base there, how the things are sitting in the grass now because we've added those shadows like that. So the benefits of shadows, you know, in this case, it's a, you know, a little bit of a change too. It's like a directional shadow there too. It makes it a little bit more dramatic like that. Okay, now here's what you do too. Here's black, okay? And these chunks are stamped in black. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit more black like that, and then I'm going to transition like this through the shadow like that, okay? So it's darker where the shadow is being cast like this, and I'm just using a little bit less pressure here, like this, a little bit harder next to the source, and then you transition that like that down here. So harder and darker to like that, because I didn't even use it down here. Okay, so it's like a half an inch like this or something like that. I'll try to make it a little bit more prominent so you can see it at least. But you see that little area down there? So see, doesn't it look like those trees are really sitting in to that area now? You know, now if we went way down here, if the scene kind of came down here, then we'd have to start kind of creating a shadow of, you know, where the foliage is casting a shadow down here. But it, I mean, that looks a lot better though, doesn't it? With those shadows in there like that. So, I mean, it's a really simple way to do it, but, you know, it just makes everything look so much more effective that way, I think. So you can do that. It's not much if it's trees, it's whatever you want to do, you know. And like I said, if you just kind of pick somewhere in here, this would be really dramatic too if you chose a shadow like over here, or the source of light, and all these, you know, shadows would be going this way. I mean, that'd be kind of cool too. All right, so let's add a little bit of richness to this grass. And all right, so a little bit brighter tones like this. Four trees in different seasons. That's a good idea. The one thing about the even number of trees is that sometimes from a compositional standpoint, the odd numbers kind of look better. You know, it's like, you know, the rule of thirds and things like that. If you did 4 trees, I would probably put something in there. Maybe like the deer that, you know, we're going to add in here would offset it a little bit, where you have 5 objects then. But yeah, that'd be cool. That would really be cool, actually, huh? It would represent the 4 different seasons. So spring, summer, fall, and then winter. Yeah, actually, that's a really great idea, Linda. You have 4 of them all in a row like that. Yeah. So which one would you start off with, though? Because that bear one's really going to stand out. Well, I guess the bear one, you can have, like, snow on it or something like that. Huh. All right, that's an exercise for everyone. Do 4 trees in a row. So the spring one, you'd have like spring blossoms on it. The summertime could be like just the green leaves, right? And then fall, of course, fall foliage. Yeah, that'd be awesome. All right, so adding this, this is just a really pale green, right? It's like a nothing green. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm adding this into this area, and it just overall, it looks a little bit richer, I think, and brighter. This one might be going a little bit too far, okay? Like that, but let's just give it a try. I'll add it in the shadow areas, okay? Maybe. And I'll transition a little bit out like this, so I'm doing this type of thing. Okay, where it's like paler, like that. And I'm not sure if I want to do something like this too, so I can just do it really light like that. I don't have to do this. Okay. And then remember, we always have our blender, you know, pens and things like that. We can go over the top of it and blend it in if it's a little bit too harsh looking. But I think that looks pretty good. Let's go back in with the lighter one. I'll just use that as my blender color. All right, now that's just all greens and blues down there. And one of the things that my secret to, or trick or whatever, in grassy areas, although that looks okay, and I just think in just straight greens, you know, I mean, I had blue underneath there too, but my trick with this is to hit it with, man, not this one right here. Actually, this pen's starting to go. That's a little bit too camel-ish. I need light. Here we go. This is like a lighter beige tone. Okay, and I add that in here. Okay, my grass is already too rich for it. It doesn't even show up. Let's go with this one right here. I like a little bit of an earthy looking green in here. So this kind of mellows it out a little bit. And making it look a little bit more earthy green. Although I did like the just how it is too. And I'd be fine with that had I not, if I didn't have this like brownish, you know, color here. I mean, you can go over the top of it too with the colored pencils as well. But that's a little bit more earthy looking to me. See a little brownish tinge over here. So it's not just like all green. But the colored pencils are really doing well though. Let's go back in with some of that too. Right here, brown tones. It doesn't really apply real well over the top of alcohol ink, but it's applying enough. I don't need it to look like this, okay? I just want to apply like a little of that influence in here. Actually, where I'm going into some of that alcohol ink right there, it seems like it's like removing it, like scratching into it like scratch board. Let's work those shadows a little bit more and get a little bit of a richer shadow. Let's get this trunk kind of going into the grass a little bit more too, out here. Like that. Okay. All right, can you tell the difference between that brownish tinge in there? You can see it right in here, a little bit more too. I don't know, you know. I like it. I don't know. It's like a personal kind of, you know, little preference there. I do see grasses, you know, all the time where they look really bright and green, and you know, sometimes I think, oh, I should just do that sometime. But I don't know. When I add this in here, I really like that look, you know, in terms of the earthiness of it. Let me add a little bit more of this black here now too. I'm going to make that shadow a little bit more. Oh, a little bit stronger there. Actually, I'm digging up some of the tone a little bit more. I've achieved super, I don't know, whatever saturation on the surface right here. to the point where it's like a little bit fragile. Okay, so you could spray seal that and add more too, right? Linda B, if she's still on, she ordered a case of, 600 cans of it that she found. Or was it 6? Even 6 cans, that's quite a bit. Okay, yeah, look at that. It looks so much better here with the black. See, I'm adding this a little bit more around this horizon right here. And into that shadow area. Like that. Doesn't it look, yeah, the trees are like sitting into the grass a lot better now, I think. Okay, let's see. High ceiling garage with a butterfly net to get them out. What did they do? The hummingbirds are flying in there just by accident, Candy, or something? Use of your trees, watching closely. Yeah, it's fun with the trees like that, Candy. You can change. Those trees are like a, I don't know, it's like, well, they're a skeleton tree, so you can kind of take them in any direction that you want here. Uniball, but clogs. Oh, the Uniball Signo. Wait, the Uniball. Oh, wait. You mean the gel pens, Jeannie? The Meowsen. Yeah, the Meowsens. I don't think they make them anymore. If they are out there still, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Meowsens are sold out. The only reason I got those Meowsens in the first place was there was a 6-pack of white ones that were probably the same type, but the Meowsens were a 6-pack of the white. But they came with the 2 black ones, so which I never use, but I just figured if I might use them, I might as well just be getting 2 free pens, black ones for the the same price as the other 6, and those ones worked great for me. But I don't know if I've seen them on there anymore. Hello, Jen. Good to see ya. Got some noir, super smooth, like a baby's bottom. Interesting. That's cool. Hello, hello, Ginger. Got off work. What stamp and paper? Winter Ash Large. Semi-gloss. Cardstock here. Okay, so let's see. Maybe I should have stamped this out. Let's see, it's gonna go right in here. So there's too much kind of it's like visual tension here on this scene. Just one boom, boom, boom like this. So we need to offset it a little bit. And that's where there's like a, some little figure in here. Anything, it could be a person too. But I thought I would do this little deer in here. I'm not sure if I should do it in the stays on or if I should do it in, because this is colored pencil down here right now. So stamping kind of dye-based inks, water-based inks into wax, you know what I mean? It's going to repel it, so I should probably use the stays on for this here. Okay, so Ginger, this one was, I was just doing this thing where I was trying to work. It didn't really look like it here because I have too many mixed colors, but I was just going to do the spectrum of different colors going across here in the trees. But I think to really emphasize it, I need to do okay, I'm working my way around that branch there because I don't want that horn going right up to the branch there, so I'm stamping a little bit lower than I thought I would be doing. Okay, so it's just supposed to kind of emphasize the spectral change, going across a spectrum of colors here. So the blues and greens, oranges. So this is like the center tree, left and right tree. right there. But I think in order to emphasize it, I need to do like 5 different trees, maybe smaller, because I don't want to do it across, it's like 17 inches or something like that in here. But just do it in like one color, like blue, green, yellow, orange, orange, red, purple, or something like that. And have like a quote stamp. I do have a quote stamp that I was thinking about in here if I had room, but I'm not sure. So one of these was, okay, so this one's Earth Laughs and Flowers, but I don't know if that literally looks like flowers. That would fit right in there, though. I don't think I liked it better up here, but I don't have room for it up there anymore. And one of the other ones was, it was like, yeah, I forget what it was. I'm reading this stuff backwards. There was another quote. Yeah, but that doesn't look like a good place for a quote. And this was like a word, like one word there. Like colors. So like, okay, so we need to finish off this bottom portion right here. All right, let's go with these 3 right here. It does seem like it needs a quote, though, to fit in with this theme. Otherwise, the theme doesn't really kind of make sense, in terms of those transitioning colors, though. I don't know. I'll think about it. Let me see. Oh, yeah. I don't know if I have room for it, but yeah, nature always wears the colors of the spirit, or Earth Laughs in Flowers. I don't know. I'll consider that one again. I can always mat this off, and then the quote stamp can be down here, within the same card too. Maybe that's the way to go. Or I can do it on a separate piece of paper and just have it going across up there like that. Nah. I think the seasons make sense with the 4 trees, Linda, for that seasonal one. I think I have other like seasonal quote stamps too, or you can do like that season next to, like if there was 4 of these, you can put the season next to the thing like that. That'd be kind of cool too. Okay, so Linda, we're talking about kind of a seasonal themed scene, right? Where you have all 4 seasons kind of wrapped up, and represented in one scene, with a tree in transition, okay? But if you here's your scenic stampers, one of the things that I always said was a really good exercise, and I've done it. I haven't done it a huge number of times, but where you just stamp out 3. You can go 4. 4 of the same composition. You can just do it all in black ink or something like that. But then approach each separate scene representing a different season. Speaking of that, like the latest grouping of originals on eBay are my 3 season what do I call it? Something in the woods. Bridge in the Woods. Bridge in the Woods. Someone just bought the winter one today. But those ones are up right now. But anyways, what I'm getting at is it's a good exercise to go through, and I'd really recommend it, doing something like that for everyone. It's really fun too, to do things like that, because you can really change the spirit of a location just by, basically it's the color schemes. you know, naturally, and if it's something that represents winter, you know, not a Southern California winter where we don't, you know, we're not getting like snow and stuff unless you're up in the mountains. But you know, you really change the spirit of something by color scheme. All right, so this is the little bit of tan, and I'm adding this right at the top of some of these clusters of grass. It's giving your grass, when you add these little dots in like this down here, you're giving this area down in here something in common with what's happening up here, kind of in a more extreme way. So it's a good way to kind of incorporate those in with one another. From a textural standpoint. So what I'm doing with this is I'm just kind of representing kind of like highlights on the tops of some of these little clusters of grass, okay? And then what we'll do is we'll bring in some of those colors from up there, and we'll have like fallen leaves down here again. Okay, so that was, yeah, let's see, let's go to white right here. Gel pens clogs. I don't have problems with the latest gel pens that I haven't used gel pen. I haven't been using gel pens for quite some time because I felt that the paint pens, the acrylic paint pens, just are better for my purposes because I'm not using a gel pen to roll, like to write with. You know, because those gel pens are all roller balls. But the ones that I got into towards the end of when I was using gel pens, I found that they worked really good. But again, they were waterier. Okay, so they made them a little bit more watery, I think, to thin out the gel inks so that it wouldn't clog. Now, I didn't have problems with the Uniball Signos for the most part. I know they might clog up over time, but I had a really good experience with those ones. In usage, to me, they would last like a couple years. And I got through some of those ones where it just, I used them up to completion, which is always a really good sign for gel pens. If you can use them up all the way. Now, with the paint pens, too, I've used up a couple of my white ones just completely, you know, where they've run out of paint. So if you can get that type of use out of them, it's always, like I said, it's always a good thing. Let's see. We need to color in our little figure here. I'm going with blue, like a bluish tinge. But then let's go in with a little bit of a tan coloring too, like right on here. I need to create a shadow for that, for our animal, don't I? Okay, so this is what we did. Our source of light was coming from light right here, that little branch up there. So if you just joined in, if you look down here, my shadow from this tree is going this way, right? And you can see it right there. The source of light is this way, right here. So you go to the base of the tree right there, and there's your shadow angle that way. Here it's just much more vertical like this. Okay. I don't know, maybe I need to make it more prominent. I think I got rid of it a little bit here. Something like this. So roughly, now remember, this isn't like just some solid thing. You have light coming through here too, but just, you know, just in general, you know, you can create light like this. And even, like I said, you know, this grass is supposed to be at, you know, a little bit of a different angle. So, but, you know, just in general, if you ever want to know kind of your shadow directions, you know, you can just do like something like that. So here he's like casting shadow. And that's, like I was mentioning, that's a lot too harsh. I should have done with the dark green here, but we'll just kind of blend that out a little bit more and transition it like that. And here it's body is creating this shadow right in here. So it's just legs right here, right? And then you create a little bit of that body. Don't do it too harsh like that. You just kind of, it looks like this. Right there, it's where it's a little bit darker, like there, and then you transition it like that, okay? It's going like this. Notice how I have my paper kind of at an angle with its most conducive. This isn't comfortable for me doing this, you know. I feel like, you know, this is much more of like a, what do you call it? Ergonomic. An ergonomic motion like this. I can do this much easier, right? So I'm changing the angle here, so. Yeah, it's like a bigger shadow there, so he's casting a shadow like that. That's a little bit too extreme, though, here. Let me break that up a little bit. I went into that black a little bit too much, so you just go back in with your paint pen and just kind of tone that down a little bit with a lighter, you know, green back in there. All right, and then we're going to use the pigment ink too, so. Use the white going in there. So anyways, that's my little lesson on shadows right there. See how it kind of anchors everything down like that? My little elk needs to get a little bit darker here. Let's go and add that in there. It kind of stands out a little bit lighter right over the top of that wax, so just go and add that in if you need to with a, you know, a marker or a colored pencil like that. See on the base there, I just kind of added a little bit more shadow there too. Like that. All right. So yeah, shadows and trees. If you're doing it at nighttime, maybe your shadow is, you know, a different color. That, but let's go in with our pigment ink now. Shingles for my next scratch build house. You're making your own shingles this time, Froggerfish? You're not buying those kind of formatted ones, or are you painting those pre-formatted? I asked Rocky Fresh, I said, hey, you know, is all that like vinyl siding, or like siding for these houses, like, and shingles for like the tops, the rooftops? I said, can you buy that now? When I say now, I'm talking, you know what I mean? I'm talking about like over the last like 30, you know, whatever, 30 years. Because I haven't seen some of these, you know, the materials that are out there these days for, like train, you know, building and, you know, stuff like that. All right, so, yeah, I'm not going to put a quote down there. That would make sense in that area right in there, but white pigment ink. All right, oh, here, I'll keep this up, right side up so you guys can see. All right, so where do you add your white pigment ink? You add it where light meets darker, okay? Now on something like this, I'm probably gonna have it coming over the top of this little, whatever, grassy slope. Presumably this like dips down on the other side, I'm guessing, or something like that. But see, it's already kind of lighter up here anyway as you move, you know, a little bit from the trees, but I'm just adding this little bit of light over the top of it. Now it looks like it's a little bit more illuminated like that with like real light, right? And then you can add that into your trees too, just to vary it a little bit more. So say this is our light source right here, maybe on the side of this tree, like this, or on the side of this trunk down here. You can go across your shadow too. You know, your shadow will still be down there and defined in there, but you know, it'll just be a little bit lighter. But see that lighting coming across that tree like that? Just in a little bit of a lighter area, like so. Like about like this. This one, the lighting is coming from kind of within there. So if you have like a space in between trees like this, I can do that. On this tree, over to the right of our light source, like that. I'll add a little bit of this pigment ink. I'll try to kind of target it on the left side of the tree here, okay? Like that, where it looks a little bit more dominant coming from there. Okay, let me go like this. All right, see that tree there? It's kind of capturing some of that light coming from over that way. Yeah. Let's add this throughout here a little bit more. I won't add too much more. Let's put some on that figure right there, elk. That. So it kind of puts it, yeah, right around its feet. It looks pretty cool, I think. So it looks like that light is kind of coming through that. Actually, this is helping quite a bit, I think. You know, because there's just nothing in that background area, so we're putting this kind of like a representation of light, you know, and it's kind of like a, you know, it's kind of like a three-dimensional light when you do it this way too, because it's, you have it going in front of and over things, so it looks like they're a little bit more enveloped in that light like that. So it's like coming from the background to the foreground like this when you put it over those foreground, you know, or those objects in there like that. Okay. I'm tempted to add in some foreground in here, but I'm thinking I would just do it, I think, on one side or something like that. I don't know, some grass right here. I'm not sure. Everything's so graphical with just the trees. I'm not sure if, like, adding some of this would be good or not, you know. If that would contribute. It kind of would. It would push depth a little bit more, but I don't know. I think it might be better just to leave it out of it. All right, so let's just go with that right there. I think I'm overexposed here a little bit on my camera. I don't know if that's underexposed now. That's about right. All right. But anyway, there is the 3 trees here. I lost a little bit of my shadow definition down this way. Let's go a little bit darker this way, because I think it looked really dramatic with those strong shadow forms in here, like that. All right, but that's it. Okay, so that's my first, I don't know, little model for some transitioning tree tones. I need some kind of quote stamp that goes around in here, like something about talking about color, which would, you know, kind of point out the, you know, the purpose of, you know, doing these trees as different colors right there. Something about a spectrum would be good. But I'll format this into a card, and I'll, oops, and I'll add in that that quote somewhere, like, you know, maybe down here, like as a little bit of a, like a plaque or something like that. And I'll figure something out. So doing something like this on the vinyl holographics might be kind of interesting too, where it's a vinyl holographic thing in the background, but then you have that white pigment ink laid down as a little bit of a blocking out type of thing. too, or maybe that would be too extreme though. The vinyl holographic would be probably, it would distract from the colors that are happening in here too. Another option would be is you do this on black paper and you stamp out your trees, you do them in white instead, right? And that might be kind of cool too. You can stamp out your deer in white too over that black paper, but then you have those colors. You know, you work in those different color schemes on each tree or something like that. But I don't know, maybe the seasonal one is the format there, Linda. We'll have to give that a try there with the with those ones, and I think that would be pretty cool. What would you call that? Seasonal, a season card or something like that. A seasonal range. No, that's a terrible name for it. 4 seasons, a 4-season card, all right? All in one. But yeah. If you ever guys get ever bored, okay, and some of you, you know, you're advanced stampers. It's like I think kind of doing the single card too. I mean, we can work larger too, but I think like sequential pieces, you know, where you're like doing 2 or 3 things in a thing, or you can stamp out a story too, you know. But a real natural one for scenic stamping is the seasons, you know, or you can do times a day too, or you can put one of those seasons in, you know, a different time of day. I think the winter one in as a nighttime type of thing is really dramatic, like a moonlit winter's night, you know, that type of thing. So you can do a tree and that. There's a whole book by one of my favorite children's book illustrators was Thomas Locker, but he was a painter in the Hudson River School of Landscape Painting, and one of his former students said, hey, you know, that started doing children's books, said, hey, you should do, you know, maybe you should get into some children's books. So he got into doing, he was basically painting what he does, but he just did it in the, you know, like a theme. So this one's like a theme on clouds right here. So, you know, his, you know, use of clouds like that. Look how beautiful these are right here. But look at these different times of day right here. You know, here's that, you know, nighttime type of thing, right? But look at these different types of cloud things. This is like this is the type of stuff Jeannie does, you know, with her brushwork and her skies. But look at this one right here. Look at that deep blue right down there. It's like, it's almost like, I don't know, it's somewhere in between like these 2 colors, right? You know, in terms of tone. Look how dark this is down here, right? It's almost like this hue, the equivalent, right? This blue almost matches in with that. But that blue, this is the illuminated area down here just because we went with black to the side of it, okay? But, you know, you can do all these different types of seasonal things. Look how beautiful this one is right here. This guy was selling these originals years ago. He passed away about 10 years ago, I think it was, but I think I saw this one on up for like a sale somewhere. And it was a little bit too much for me, but I don't know. I really wanted to buy one of those originals. Look at those cumulus clouds like that. Just doing a scene just with clouds like that as a scene. But look at those little wisps going off like that. That's what you do with the, you can do with your white pigment ink like that. You just whisk into it. But like this dark, medium, lighter like that. And look at those ones. It's like rain coming down. You can do that with your pigment ink. You'd have to have it like grays over here. You have to kind of bring your colors down like this, right? You add your colors down this way, but then you go in with your white pigment ink and you go up that way into it. It's kind of what I do with, you know, like with Northern Light types of things. But Tom's like, anyways, I was getting into this because he has this one book that's just a tree in like all kinds of different seasonal scenarios. So I don't know. Check it out if you have a chance. Thomas Locker. And he has several different books. But they're really great sources to reference too if you want to think, okay, I want to do a different sky or something like that. You can take a look and, you know, take a look in there and, you know, figure out how to translate that with the media that you're using. So, Anyway. Can't wait to see what you do, Linda. The thing is, I do like something like this, and Linda watches it, and she'll have like 5 versions on Facebook, like tomorrow, based on, you know, like a single idea like that. Linda's pretty prolific, so I always say check out if you're on Facebook. But Linda's starting to post to her Flickr account too. But check out the join. I don't know if you have the address there. You can pop that into this chat right here, Linda. But the Facebook Stampscapes 2 Facebook. Is that the name of the group? Stampscapes 2 Facebook, or is it Stampscapes Facebook 2? I don't know, I forget. If you just type in, if you're on Facebook and you type in Stampscapes, you know what I mean, it'll come up. It's like the one group. There's not like, you know, like 20 groups out there, you know, like that or something like that. I have to post my fall card from last year on the group page. Awesome. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. I want to do more of these ones like this. I'm going to do a real simple one too, because I thought just the one color on top of black, I thought those were looking really good, like in all colors, that red, purple, and blue. So we can do like an even faster one. The thing that you can do too is like you can really develop your grassy areas like that, but just keep these ones a little bit more sparse, and I think that'd be really fun. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, pointillism. A pointillism look, definitely, with all those little dots of paint in there. And see that little shimmer down it? I almost like my grass in here and those shadows even more than the, I mean, the whole attention is supposed to be with the paint pen colors up there, but I really like my grass. I hardly ever do just like a little grassy knoll or something like that, you know, without anything else up here. But the grass, it really stands out with nothing in the background like that. Like it's a little, like a, not a cliff, but like a, you know what I mean? Like a slope or something like that. I need to do that more often, I think, with the, I don't know, just different objects. And just a simple, you know, swatchy thing on the top there like that, I think worked out pretty good, so. Anyway, a time for all seasons. Yes. So yeah. Check that out. Linda will have 10 different variations on that for all of us to enjoy tomorrow by 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. All right, folks. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for the B-Day wishes and happy anniversary wishes and the actual B-Day here to Annie. Happy anniversary to, that was Candy, right? And B-Day to Annie. Thanks for the wishes to me. And thanks for joining on this I can't spell. Experiment. Okay, yeah. So more spectral types of experiments to come. Does anyone here do foiling? You know, like foiling leaves or something like that would be really cool too. I don't know if they do that. Is that foiling still done where you kind of add that little adhesive with a paintbrush or whatever you want to do? Then you take those like foil sheets and you can just press it into there, and it, wherever you have that adhesive, it comes out on there. But I don't know, it's just stuff like that would be kind of interesting as well to do it in metallics. Oh my god. So they have those metallic pens too that I'll have to try on something like that for real graphical, like shimmery types of reflective things in these trees too. So I don't know, too many things to do, too many things to try. But always fun and something to look forward to. Good night, everyone.